So the Middle East is a mess, right? From the media to the White House, all we hear is how Palestinians cannot get along with Israeli citizens. Does that mean that the Arabs are to blame? I say no. What if they have their own method of resolving conflicts, radically different from dispute resolution methods in the West? That method does exist, and is called the Suhla process. Is the process in which tribal communities come together and resolve disputes without violence. The main tool in this process is the use of honor to bind parties to get them to come to the table, and then to make their agreements last long after the Suhla ceremony is over. The Suhla ceremony is guided by the village or tribal elders who make up what is called the Jaha. In Arabic culture, this idea of honor in some cases leads to people taking acts of revenge against those who have wronged them. It would seem dishonorable for someone not to take revenge against someone who has done damage to either their property or their family. It is the job of the Jaha to reframe this idea of honor into a tool to guide the participants in a dispute from feelings of revenge to feelings of forgiveness. This is broken down into 5 components, with the principle of honor guiding each one. In the first component, honor is used to bring the offenders to the process. In this case, the Jaha Council goes to the offender's residence, and they use their prestige to get them to come join the Suhla process. For the offenders, it would be a great dishonor to the Jaha members and to the community at large to refuse such a request from the Jaha. In the second component, honor is also used to bring the victims to the process. The Jaha Council goes to the victims and makes themselves almost subservient, giving a sense of honor and choice to the victims. This results in a better chance that the victims will not refuse the request to come to the Suhla process. Component of the Suhla process, the actual negotiations. Honor plays an important role. The elders use honor during the Suhla process to keep the ceremony going, sometimes by even manipulating how one party communicates to the other. This is very beneficial at times when one party wants to say something that would actually hinder the resolution to the conflict. They also make both parties aware that if an agreement cannot be made, they would be dishonoring the Jaha and the whole community. One of the final stages in the Suhla process is the actual Suhla ceremony itself. In this ceremony, the entire community is in attendance. Each side comes together with the help of the Jaha and breaks a ceremonial dinner with one another, marking the forgiveness that has taken place between the parties. The component of the Suhla process is to ensure that the agreement made between both parties lasts. This is done by having numerous co-signers to the agreement, which is signed by both parties. Again, the honor of the co-signers is used to make sure that if one of the parties backs out of the agreement, he would be not only dishonoring himself, but his entire community. This makes honor a tool that is used to hold an agreement together long after the Suhla process ends. What makes the Suhla process so interesting is that it is so radically different from Western dispute resolution practices. As we've learned in class, emotions and positions are something that should not play a major role, if any, in resolving conflicts. But in the Suhla process, this idea of honor is used as a guiding tool to resolve conflicts. This is done by enlarging the scope of the conflict, from that of the 2 individuals involved in the dispute to the whole community. By reframing the view of honor in Arabic culture, we can see that Palestinians in the Suhla process see forgiveness as the honorable thing to achieve, rather than the traditional sense of revenge.